Welcome everyone to this program celebrating the 150th anniversary of Sergei Rachmaninoff's birth. My name is Whitney Henderson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Ladies Musical Club of Seattle. I want to speak for a few minutes about Rachmaninoff and his time in Seattle. Yes, Seattle, Washington. Often, even the most familiar pieces of historical music can feel like they were part of a distant past. However, what I want to show today is that just how close to home Rachmaninoff and his music really are, both in time and in place. First, a little background on the Ladies Musical Club. The Ladies Musical Club was formed in 1891 with the purpose of developing the talent of its members and fostering classical music in the nascent but very musical city of Seattle, which had a respectable 43,000 residents when the LMC was founded. In its first few decades, LMC presented concerts by its classically trained members, helped start and fund organizations like the Seattle Symphony, Cornish School, and Seattle's Children's Hospital. And from 1900 to 1995, LMC ran its International Artist Concert Series, which brought several world-famous musicians to distant Seattle stages each season. These included, but are certainly not limited to, ensembles like the New York Symphony Orchestra and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, singers like Lillian Nordiga, Marian Anderson, Marilyn Horne, and Paul Robeson, and multi-talented instrumentalists like Sergei Rachmaninoff, whose visits to Seattle I'll outline a bit today. A full list of artists we presented as part of this series is available on our website at lmcseattle.org/about/history. Exactly 100 years ago this past February 2023, Sergei Rachmaninoff made his first of 4 visits to Seattle under the auspices of the Ladies Musical Club. All 4 of his performances were at Seattle's Metropolitan Theater, which was located downtown on University between 4th and 5th and operated from 1911 to 1956. By his first 1923 performance, Seattle had grown to nearly 400,000 residents. And thanks to LMC and other organizations in this musical city, many of these residents had quite the appetite for good classical music. At each of his 4 concerts between 1923 and 1933, Rachmaninoff played a mix of his own pieces and of other musical stalwarts like Beethoven, Schumann, and Chopin, which he consistently brought new vigor to, according to reviews. These were definitely not the old boring classics in his capable hands, which were also incredibly large, spanning over a tenth. Recognized as a talented composer, pianist, and conductor throughout his lifetime and beyond, Sergei Rachmaninoff was born in Russia in 1873 and died in Beverly Hills, California in 1943, just 20 years after his first LMC performance. Musicologist Jeffrey Norris describes him as one of the finest pianists of his day, and considers his works to be the last great representative of Russian late Romanticism. Norris summarizes perfectly Rachmaninoff's evolution as a composer when he writes that the influences of Tchaikovsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, and other Russian composers soon gave way to a thoroughly personal idiom, with a pronounced lyrical quality, expressive breadth, structural ingenuity, and a palette of rich, distinctive orchestral colors. Rachmaninoff began studying piano at a young age, first at the St. Petersburg Conservatory, and later at the Moscow Conservatory, where, coincidentally, LMC's own illustrious Valentina Rodov, who you will hear on this program today, also studied. It was here at the Moscow Conservatory that Rachmaninoff began composing in 1887, and he remained at the conservatory until graduating with honors in piano in the early summer of 1891, the same year LMC was founded. He spent several more years as a popular performer, composer, and conductor in Russia and Germany before finally relocating to New York City in 1918. Over the course of his life, he composed in a wide range of genres, including symphonies, string quartets, sonatas, like the cello sonata on this program, even operas, and of course piano works, several of which you'll hear today. Yet, after moving to the United States, Rachmaninoff was in high demand as a performer and a conductor, leaving him less time for composing and more time on the road, including his 4 trips to Seattle under the auspices of the Ladies Musical Club. Rachmaninoff's first concert for the LMC was on February 8, 1923. Tickets were completely sold out in under 2 hours. The Seattle Times took a jab at the city's lack of a larger musical hall to accommodate all of Rachmaninoff's many fans, explaining that, as Seattle is the only city in Washington to hear the famous artist, and demand from out of town was tremendous, but owing to the limited space afforded by local theaters, and because the city has no auditorium available, hundreds were disappointed. After the concert, the Seattle Times declared, "Pianist wins audience. Rachmaninoff thrills with remarkable playing. His individual interpretation makes the program altogether unhackneyed." Tickets were $1.65 to $2.75 at that time, or about $26 to $48 today. Rachmaninoff was back in Seattle again by popular demand just 2 years later in February of 1925, and again in March of 1927. After his final Seattle concert on February 23, 1933, which drew 5 encores and saw audiences overflowing onto the theater stage, the theater was so full. Reviewers summarize that his appeal is to the layman as well as to the connoisseur, since the musical message he brings invariably is one of rare beauty. Clearly, he hadn't lost his touch. Nor has his music failed to endure even today, as we see here in this exciting program celebrating his 150th birthday. Please enjoy.